play music or something at the beginning, or no? Are you good?
No, no,
Okay,
not at
perfect,
this
perfect.
point. Starts. All right, so I'm streaming. Yeah, hey, I'm gonna have to on the second one. hey, hey, listen,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Funny.
I had Audacity, right?
Yeah,
So that was so this was a new thing for me.
yeah, yeah. Are you going live already?
Yes, I'm streaming now.
No,
Do I
perfect, nice.
sign in to YouTube Live or no? Not at this point.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay, well let me move this down. Okay. Um, Hello and welcome to Evolve Podcast Studio. This is the show where we discuss motivational topics that inspire action. I'm your host, Lewis Johnson, and in each episode, we will dive into conversations with common viewers and experts. Whether you're here to get inspired, spark creativity, or simply learn something new, you're in the right place. Before we get started, I would like to say a legal statement. Subjects on this podcast are from our personal experiences and viewpoints. We do not promote any political, religious, or social agendas. Um, Tonight's episode on Evolve Podcast Studio will be how do you manage fear in your everyday life? Uh, I have an acronym for fear, and it stands for false evidence appearing real. And for the listeners out there, I want to give you a definition of fear: a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, pain, etc., whether the threat is real or imagined. The feeling or condition of being afraid. Now, I need to know or see if the audience will, introduce themselves so I can know who all I have on the podcast, if you don't mind.
I'll jump on here and introduce myself first. My name is Terry Williams. I'm signing in from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Happy to be here.
All right, thank you, Terry. Anyone else that we have that want to introduce themselves?
Yes, sir. You got me right here. This is Rick from RT365. So I've been podcasting with Mr. Lewis for a long, long time. I will say, a couple of years now, and I'm looking forward to discuss these topics today. Um, so thank you for having me here.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Terry. Um, let's move in to the first topic. Um, I would like to know from you gentlemen, what are some causes of fear in your life? Um, it could be on the job. It could be in a relationship, socially, or it can be physically, like your mental health. So,
You know,
go ahead.
so I'm excited about your first podcast. First of all, I want to say that being here is super cool. Having you orchestrate this whole event and going through the hoops of setting up the your studio and then having guests and everything. I just want to take a quick second to congratulate you on your journey, and then what I hope that it becomes something very successful, because the message that you're delivering, and you're trying to deliver to the audience is amazing. So addressing your question, there's one topic that comes to mind every time that I think about fear. Okay, from myself, from others, from people that I encounter on a daily basis, either a business or at the office, or just just at the gym, and then the one topic that comes to mind is the imposter syndrome. Okay, so what is what is the main keys that we as individuals see when we encounter this type of fear, the type of fear of failure, maybe fear of being exposed, and fear that sometimes we don't see ourselves worthy or enough. So I would definitely would like to talk about the imposter syndrome. So yeah, that's.
Okay. Okay, so Rick, expand on the imposter syndrome, if you don't mind, and what could be, what do you determine an imposter to be?
So most of the times, even when we as individuals we have clear evidence of achievement. Let's say, let's go on that route, and the person feels like they don't belong here. They might be thinking, oh, they're gonna find me out, or I'm not as capable as they think. The imposter syndrome, hits high performers the hardest, and then I will say, why high achievers, why high these top value individuals they suffer from this type of fear, and it's because many corporations, many industries, many families, many settings. It doesn't matter if it's whatever you're doing, if it's at work or at home. Many spouses, set extremely high standards, and then for whatever reason, high quality individuals continue to evaluate their own performance, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a worker, as a boss, as a manager, as a CEO, as a garbage collector. So the imposter syndrome is one of the things that I think every time that the word fear comes to mind. We can talk about other types of fear, but
Right. Okay.
from a motivational standpoint, this is
Yeah.
something that I think that we should cover in,
Okay.
in this podcast, because this is I
Right.
think this is one of the topics that people will be looking answers
Right.
for.
Okay. So Terry, so going off of the imposter syndrome, uh, you work in the educational field and you have people working under you. So you come in, you get a resume, you ask someone, hey, this is our standard. This is how we do business in this particular institution. Do you find that that's each institution operates different, and one individual may not know every aspect of the job?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we have a number of campuses. So each campus runs their show a little different. But I can speak to my campus because I do the hiring there for admissions. And just recently, I hired a new young lady who has never worked that industry. And I typically don't go outside of someone that has that experience as an admissions representative, because I know it's a tough job and not everybody can do that. So I took a chance and hired this young lady just off of her interviewing, her energy, and just how bad she wanted the job. After hiring her and just training her up, I noticed that she has this an imposter thing that he mentioned.
Right.
So I think, when he started describing it, I'm like, oh, wow, this is her. She's so afraid of failure. She's afraid that she won't fit in with the other team. And by the way, the girl's doing amazing. She's got her numbers. She's hitting her numbers, but she's always coming to me, man. She sees everybody else doing well, and she's like, I want to be there. So she wants to fit in. She wants to be on the upper echelons of the other reps. And so I told her that's going to come in time, but to just see that fear in her and just going home every day and studying and I can tell you after being with this organization for 11 years that that's normally not the case when you have people that have experience that have worked in that field. They feel like they know it all and they don't need to go home and practice and do all the things that she's doing to actually be on the same playing field as them. So I can definitely relate to what he's talking about with the imposter syndrome.
Right. Okay. And does the imposter syndrome comes from someone who is embellishing their credentials, or is it someone that's just not educated enough or have enough experience in that particular field? I know for me, um, I've been associated with the military 30, 35 years, and I'm yet to do a specific job for 20 years. So, 20 or 30 years. So every couple years, I do an audit. I audit myself on the job and in my career. So basically, what I'm saying is, if I want to get to a higher level, I either have to take training, you know, uh, some type of class, or just get some other instructions beyond. So, so when I go into a new career field, it's not that I'm having a imposter syndrome. I have the knowledge, but I don't have the experience.
Mm.
So some guys at some points they pit their experience against you. So they know that, hey, I've done this, for 10 years or so. So so you have to get in your mind to remove the fear. Okay, so once I know what you know, now I'm free of your mastery, right? So then it becomes competitive. Now the fear reverses itself, right, onto the guy that's been there for 10 years, and you know, and now you're impeding on his territory, his level of understanding. So when you talk about the imposter syndrome, is that the real um, problem, or is it, or does fear go in both ways? You know, is it interchangeable between two people or in a situation? That was a very good word, Rick. The imposter syndrome. You know, and it applies. So what most people do when they go to a job, they rest on what they've done in the past, right? I've been guilty of it. I think everybody has, and then they don't have the aptitude or the understanding of how to move forward and to remove the fear. So you either go forward or you go backwards, or you don't go anywhere at all. So, but that's a very good point. Um, so in the next topic,
Hey,
which,
Luis,
yeah,
let me ask you
okay,
something real
sure,
quick.
sure,
I have a couple of questions.
okay,
By the way, I want to say to you that your live stream is pretty good. The stream is healthy, is looking good.
okay,
And I can see that we are live on YouTube right now. So if you're watching right now, don't forget to like this video and share this video with the people that you know. So
okay,
please
all right,
support Louis' channel.
right,
It's looking
right,
good.
right, okay, all right,
So quick question for you guys, and then I'm going to answer the same question as well
okay,
when it comes to imposter syndrome, and is what success have you minimized that deserve acknowledgement? This is something that is that has to be that is very important, and it has to be in our
right,
minds,
right,
and that we need to promote this more in the workplace.
right,
Because many achievement, many successes, many items or items that needed to be celebrated are either brush up or just we move into the next uh, type of activities without we move into the next sprint
Right.
without acknowledging, hey, we just make this milestone
Right.
ahead of time, or we were able to cut a project that was estimated to take in our team, I don't know, 600 hours. You will finish in 400 or maybe
Right.
550 hours. So
Right.
these things needs to be recognized, and then in my case, um,
Okay.
I have started businesses almost every year. Almost every year, I have a new idea, and then I start a new business,
Right.
and then I go with this venture, and then I go a little bit, I make a little money, and then the next year I am moving into the next thing.
Right.
A couple of years ago, I got this YouTube channel in regards to it was a musical or a music YouTube channel that I started streaming with a very old computer at home, just music 24/7, and it was
Right.
the type of music that I streamed on that channel was it was called brown noise. And then if you YouTube brown noise, it's gonna be a some type of music in the 44 hertz band that will help people with tinnitus or other things. They just help them to go to sleep. So one thing that I did that many people don't know, this is a first one in this channel. I haven't told this story to people,
Right.
is that the channel got very popular, very popular, and a brand chain approached me, Luffy, and then they purchased it from me. Okay, so they wanted it, a couple of things. They give me they give me a substantial amount of money, and then they wanted it to own that channel. And then I'm gonna tell you something. I never celebrated that. I just put the money in the bank, give it the username and password, transfer the close the LLC, did a couple things, and that was done. Yeah, I never took the time to celebrate. Man, I built something from the ground. I make it into this, and then this is my success. Now that I'm thinking on this, right? But something I want to add to this is that the competition out there, that I had because this other company bought that channel, they didn't continue. They didn't change the name and then put a new logo and put a new music.
Right.
No, they just bought it. Do you know what to do? What to shut it down, to kill it,
Right.
because it was
Right.
moving
Yeah. Yeah.
their viewers.
Right.
So think about that, how that might be applying to your own scenarios. But going back to the successes that
Right.
the minimal successes that deserve acknowledgement, we need to get back to that, as managers,
Right.
project managers, CEOs, whatever the case may be,
Right.
even to with your own coworkers. If you see somebody doing something, they achieve something good, we need to celebrate those
Yeah.
successes.
Well,
That will prevent a lot of people from just overcoming
right.
this fear of the imposter syndrome. Because if they don't get recognized, they will
Right.
still thinking that, man, I'm not enough, I haven't make it,
Right.
I haven't done the things right. So it's good that, like his name, Kevin is his name.
Cool. Terry.
Terry, like Terry said, he's the person that he hired. You know, at the beginning it was like, but this person started meeting all the numbers, all the quotas, and now she's doing very good. So I'm pretty sure that he's doing these type of things.
Right.
As he mentioned on the podcast. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I want to just kind of speak to some of the things that you were talking about. What are some of the things that you missed the boat on just kind of recognizing, right? Recognition and the milestones that they hit. And I know sometimes I've dropped the ball with that because I'm so busy in my role that I can't give the acknowledgments for the hitting the numbers every single week or even every single day during that week. So sometimes that gets lost. And I think that's something that, and that's just a time management thing, just to make sure I create that time. Because those, like you said, those milestones are huge for them. And they go home, man, my supervisor told me today I did an amazing job and I'm hitting my numbers, I'm doing everything. And so now they don't come with that fear. They don't have that fear. Man, am I doing a great job? He really hasn't said anything to me this week. I don't know if I'm doing good. I don't know if I'm doing terrible. My numbers are below everybody else. Whatever supposed to be below everybody else. You're just starting. And so, yeah, that's a great point that you bring up.
Hey Terry, and other thing I want to tell you is that they know what their numbers are. They know at the office, they know who's meeting.
Right.
They know who's before I was in my role right now, in my current role. I was working for another business unit at my organization, and then I started working a lot of overtime, and then my manager was approving my overtime because I was doing real work. And at the end of the year, I realized, because I'm not looking to compare my numbers with other people, but I compare my numbers with everybody else on my team, 7, 8 people, and I did more work per Jira, let's say it that way, than anybody else. And then
Right.
I'm like, so I'm thinking like this guy have not acknowledged, he knows we are smart individuals. He knows that I'm putting the work, and he hasn't taken the time to acknowledge my wins right here, my hard
Right.
work. He just paying me in overtime, but that's not enough. So guess what
Right.
I did? I put 2 out job applications in different teams, and I was in another team within weeks.
Right.
And we had to recognize our workers, our team members, because I mean, at some point, you don't want to lose
Right.
the high performers. I would say the high performers, we have to keep
Yeah.
keep an eye on them, because if they truly realize how good they are, you know and they start talking, people will be like, man, you're gonna be you need to get the next level.
Right.
You working for who? Man, you need your manager's job.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
apply for it. Hey, that's what I'm saying.
Well, in the corporate world, it's hard to really go to another team. You have to find someone that that's going to take your place before they let you go, right? And it's a lot of that going on in the job place. So you don't have the autonomy to move as you want. In certain companies, I think in your company, Rick, they have, they encourage that, right? So in my company, they don't show you the salary, right? They just say, hey, we got the position. But I think in Rick's company, I used to work for back in the day, they show you the salary, right? And then everything you need to move to that next position. So a lot of companies don't do that. But in Colorado, they passed a law where they have to show the salary now, right? So you can't go for a job without knowing the salary in the state of Colorado. So I don't know in Texas if it's like that or not. Um, but for me, I've always been on the technical side, right? So um, I've built some businesses outside of the engineering, right? So I'll speak about this briefly. It's over with now. I built a dispensary, right, and designed it, everything, right, had it functioning with the state and everything, right, and it wasn't designed for people to succeed. And I set the business up, corporation, a S corp, and all those things. And then the government says, well, okay, we're gonna you're gonna have to pay 33% taxes, right? Then you're gonna have to pay 8% taxes, and then you have to pay like a 4% tax from the city. And no corporation can survive with that. I didn't even receive a salary. Eventually I did, but it was nowhere near to having a corporation. And I had a warehouse. I had everything. It was it was legit. But
What
but
what
the
type of dispensary was it? Was
It's only one type of dispensary, right?
it could be.
Marijuana. Yeah, marijuana.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
marijuana.
oh, yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
right, right,
No, you can
right.
you can have you can
Yeah,
have different types of dispensary.
yeah,
You can
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah. But
supplies, food.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, okay. I
the
know what you're talking about.
but at the federal level, you know, but I had it, and it thrived for 3 years. But the government put these caps and stipulations on the business so that it was impossible. So so you had to pay these federal taxes to I mean to the state of Colorado, and they was adamant about that. Then you had regional, which is the building. So you had to have the building to a certain code. So I mean this was thousands and thousands of dollars. So I met all the quotas, and then the final nail in the coffin was they came down with something called 18C, 218C. So that was the same thing that they hit Al Capone with the racketeering, right? So him not paying money, him not paying taxes on money that he earned, whether it was legal or illegal, right? So when they came with that, it just killed the industry. I mean, a lot of people went out of business because you just couldn't sustain paying over 50% of your taxes, then your overhead and things of that nature. So I've had, that business. We owned the beauty salon for 20 something years, and, just, so now I'm winding down. I'm older now. So, I mean, that was very profitable, over the years. Did a lot for the family. Um, so you try to, and sometimes you try to hold on to a business, right, through some for some reason because you believe that it can be successful, or even starting a business. So you'll stay in it too long, and that was some of the downturns. But I have ideals every day that that I can employ. Um, like you, Rick. I'm new to the podcasting space. Um, I built up the digital platform which I have in the background. So I'm still working on that every day. Where I have the motivation. I mean, I came a long way since we first started, right? I mean, I had no nothing, right? And then we lost contact there for a little bit, and we reached back out, but and that's what friendships endure, right? And always supported you, and now I'm in the space, you know, full throttle, and now you're supporting me, and which is good. So starting out, I had a fear. I wasn't thinking about how broad a platform can be. So when I started in this, I said, okay, I want the platform to be set up like this. So I had a guy helping me manage it, and he said, look, Lewis, calm down, slow down. So we looked into this guy's platform, and he said, well, this guy has 14 people working for him, right? That's covering different aspects of his digital platform. And on top of that, he had 3.4 million users. I mean, and I was like, wow. So that fear that I had, of making something like that, and it cost me, a pretty penny, but I mean, I had the money, I wasn't worrying about it. So, but I still have that fear that I may not reach that level, and how do you reach that level? Uh, does it, do I have to be in the business another 10 years to get halfway there? So, so that is my concern of being in the podcast arena. I mean, I feel good about it, but at some point I want to make some money, uh, and not even just make some money for it to help people and be profitable at the same time. So I don't want to, look at it and be like, okay, I invested all this money and it just went up in smoke because I didn't give enough to it. I wasn't dedicated, something like that. So, um, and I'm moving in that direction. So it's it's tough. I mean, and I'm learning on the fly from you. We just set up the live, because I had it set up from another way that someone told me about, right? Uh, uh, so, and now you have your way of doing it. Both ways are successful, but so it just so I can't have the fear of failing either way. you know so with that being said, let's move on to another topic. um what impact has fear had on your life up until this point? um let's say, um we want to talk about health on this one. you know uh talk about dieting, right? Going to the doctors. So just knowing that you have something wrong with you, and the fear of you going to go get it checked out, that it may be worse than what you think, and you wind up hurting yourself in the end. So any one of you guys can talk about, you know, what type of fear have you had when it came to your personal health, nutrition, you know, and so
Yeah, I'll chime in on this. So a couple of them, right? So I remember I always went and got my checkups every year. Being prior military, so I have VA benefits, and so my girlfriend at the time would always come to these doctor's appointments with me, and from they would check out pretty regularly, and then she'd go into one appointment and she started running her mouth. Well, he's got some blood in his stool, and he needs. And I'm looking at, really, like your last appointment that you're attending, but he set up a colonoscopy for me. And that colonoscopy was before I was supposed to have our normally scheduled colonoscopy. And so when I went and did this, they found 7 polyps, right? They were benign, they weren't cancerous. But the fact that she was in there, she brought it up. And so that was something that pretty much scared me to death. And so when I went and had that done, and then regularly I've had to start having them every 5 years as opposed to 7 or 10. And after the 5 years, I went again, and no polyps. And then after that, they took me down to 5 years. I went again after 5 years, no polyps. So now I'm out to 7 years. I don't have to have one until 7 years later. But those things, man, you don't think about it, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just a problem. I got a little blood in my stool, no issue. But that could have been, something that was cancerous. Luckily, I went and had that checked out. So
right.
that
Okay.
that was a big fear.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that, the C word, right?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
I could definitely speak to that.
Well, I got to tell you, yeah, I went through the same situation. I mean, we grown as men, as soon as we hit 40, now doctors are recommending this colonoscopy at the age of 35, as early as
Right.
35, which is it's if you really think about it, it's crazy for where we used to be as a society many years ago. But science evolves, and now with the the advances in AI, and I mean now they can really find these minute small things in your blood, through your blood test. They can tell these things are elevated. You need to get a colonoscopy. You're like, what? Did you just check my blood? You haven't, you know. So I went to do the same thing, this past year, uh, and then they gave me the golden ticket. They say 10 years. So I was happy about it. But until that moment, I was really scared. We seen death in 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 the corporation where I currently work, and due to the same things, and a lot of people I know lots of people
Right.
went to do that kind of thing. Males.
Right.
But so fear triggers. You say diet. Fear triggers emotional eating. Fear triggers emotional eating. 100%. I will say that fear triggers emotional eating through comfort. So comfort eating instead of how you call it, nourishment. When you feed yourself, good steaks and good vegetables, so that comfort eating is a factor. Fear can cause through your brain to crave individuals to crave sugar, which is one of those things that makes you feel good. Sweet things, carbs. The rices, the breads, these kind of things. Fear can trigger late night eating. Um, you know, you're concerned about maybe not making next month's car payment, car note, or you start overthinking, and then your body gets tired, and then it craves that type of energy. It craves that type of energy, the type of quick energies, and so you go for things like bread, sugars, rices. Um, and fear can leads to loss of control. So when it comes to health, yeah, you already lost into this, so people start not caring for what's next, or I already messed up, so it doesn't matter if I eat X, if I get heavier, if I wake up, if I don't sleep, because diet is important, but also recovery, the time that we spend sleeping, it's also important. So yeah. So fear can definitely, Louis, can affect your eating habits. Uh, how about you,
Yeah.
Louis? What do you think about it? Have you
Um.
been through something like this,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. I've been through. Um. Yeah. Some things. Right. Um. And I always prided myself on when I was younger. Being healthy, taking the vitamins. Working out. Going to the gym. Those things. And what I realized, you know, is sometimes that's not enough. To do all those things. When we was first doing the podcasting, and then I just fell off. Right, I just stopped. So I had a condition, a polynomial cyst. Right. So, and it just came out of nowhere. Right. I was sitting down one day at the job. Just sitting. I got home, and I had a bad pain right in my backside. I was like, what's going on there? And I had some type of infection, and it burst. Right. So then I soaked in the tub. I try to just give it the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Didn't go away. Right. So uh, so then I went to the doctor, right? And he said, you got a polynomial cyst. I was like, well, okay, what can you do for it? He said, well, listen, you need to go to the VA, you know, you need an operation. I said, operation? You know, I mean, and it just came out of nowhere. So then I went to the doctor. It was a cool guy, right? He turned out to be a cool guy at this time. He said, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's common in a lot of men." So you know, uh, I'm a hairy guy, so I had so I said, "Well, doc, where did this come from?" He said, "Well, you had ingrown hair that turned back in on itself, and caused the infection." So he said this happens in a lot of men, but he said a lot of men will not address this, and it 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 could lead to cancer if as a long term if you don't get it taken care of. But a lot of men are walking around with this, and it's a green ooze pus, and So it was kind of funny. I was at the job and there was another guy. He said he had the same thing, but he said, "Man, I'm scared to go." Blah blah blah. I said, "Well, look, man." So the doctor, he didn't show me his picture, right? But he said, "Well, I can't confirm or deny that this is the guy," right? But basically, he did, because the doctor patient, that PII or HIPAA, whatever. So, um, so he said, "Yeah, Lewis, this operation," he said, "you be back up in two, right?" He just said a couple, right? He said, "You be back up in a couple." I'm thinking it's weeks and it's really months, right? you know, so he said, if I would have told you that, you wouldn't have went through with the operation, right? And he said, I have to give you the best advice, and you may not like it. So he took the operation, they took a half a dollar size chunk out of my backside. I had a hole in about an inch deep, and that was, so a lot of men don't want to do that. So it took me 2 months or more to heal. So I mean, and it wasn't a good, situation. So if he wouldn't have, said what he said in the way that he said it, I probably wouldn't have got the operation. It just it wouldn't have made sense to go through that, and it wasn't painful. I mean, I had some discomfort, but it wasn't painful like I thought. And I had a nurse come by, 2 months, right? And nurse me back to health. Um, but my point is, people don't want to move until they're facing mortality. A lot of people are like that. You can have insurance, you can have, I got 2, 3 insurances, but just imagine if I wouldn't have, you know, went to the doctors, and that particular doctor, you know, um, to help me through that process, and so I think as men we have to, and not just the physical, we have to, I go to the gym, I have a gym in my home, and I try to work out, not as much as I I want to, and I also have a gym membership. So the times that I can't, work out at the house, I can go to the gym, or vice versa. So and I think that's a financial sacrifice that I'm willing to make, every time. Some of the other things I've done, cut down on alcohol. Um, I was a heavy drinker, right? I got a lot of fallen soldiers, out there, right? And so I had to change my lifestyle, um, not necessarily out of fear, but also out of fear. I had two guys at my job recently in the last 4 to 5 months had heart attacks. I mean, one guy was at the airport and he basically was getting on the plane going overseas and his heart gave out. Well, he didn't get on the plane because they canceled the trip. Then he came back to the job and he sounded a little lethargic. And I basically said, look, man, I'll do the work, go to the hospital, you know. And he finally went. So as soon as he got to the hospital, his heart had stopped. He was done. And, you know, and
He survived?
yeah, he survived, back working. And we just had a friend, me and Terry, passed away. Donnie, rest his soul, but um, something just jumped out on him. You know, not knowing, perfectly healthy up, far as we know, and then just bang, and he was going in what, Terry, what, 6 months?
Yeah, 6, 7 months.
Yeah,
Quick.
6, 7 months gone.
Yeah.
60 years old, right? Young guy, vibrant. Um, so you have to go, and this is a plea to all men and women. Uh, if something's going on, go get it checked out, and remove the fear of it getting worse. Um, you know,
You're
um,
control of that too, So I know I got diagnosed with pre-diabetes.
right,
Doctor told me, hey, I said, well, what do I need to do? Because I know that runs in my family. And I've seen, I started
right,
thinking about people who are getting their legs amputated or fingers and toes and things like that, right? So what do I need to do? Well, you need to change your diet. You need to lose some weight, and you need to start working out. So I shut down drinking for about 6 months, and got in the gym 6 days a week and changed my diet up completely. And I think I did my follow up appointment after about 6 months. And she's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what happened?" And she said, "Man, your levels are way down. You lost a lot of weight. Like, what happened?" I said, "Well, you told me I need to lose weight and change my diet." And she said, "Nobody ever listens to me." And I said,
right,
"Well, you're talking about my health."
yeah, right,
It's just one of those things. And I just didn't want to do that. And that was out of fear, that I didn't want to be one of those guys with my toes cut off and or my leg cut
right,
off or any of that. I don't want to be taking shots every day,
right,
and medication every day to be able to control that. I want to feel like I'm in control,
right,
and giving
right.
myself some extra years on this earth.
Okay, hey guys, we're going to move on to another topic, but before I do that, hey Frankie, we want to acknowledge you. If you want to introduce yourself, you can. I know I think you're on the phone, but if that's something you want to do, um, you're more than welcome. If
Yeah,
not,
I don't know
okay.
Frankie, so you know, give me
Uh,
give me a
okay.
10-second elevator pitch right here. Come
Yeah.
on, Frankie, you got this.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm on the phone right now here because I just we just got home. I'm on daddy duties right now, but I was like, I gotta
Okay.
hop on this call. I
Right.
know me and Lewis were kind of talking about this earlier, and I was really excited to hear about this, the whole fear thing. Yeah, man. So my name is Frankie. I work with Lewis. We work on some marketing stuff. He was telling me about this and how important it is to talk about these kind of things. And just listening to you guys here in these short minutes that I've been listening to y'all, man, that's great. It's great, man. Stuff like that. Just like even going to the doctor. I'm 28 years old right now, and I feel like I hit the age where things are starting to show up. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I ain't 21 no more. I'm not 18 no more, and stuff like that. So bringing that to light is really important. And yeah, talking about fear, how you can just overcome stuff like that, and having feeling um like a good space to talk about it, right? With the right people and kind of just giving game out. So I appreciate you guys a lot.
All right, Frankie. All right. All right. Yeah, that was
Hey,
that was
Louis,
great.
he hit a good point right there, man. And then I'm gonna give me a couple minutes real quick, and I'm gonna talk about veterans, okay? Because when I go to the VA, I kind of go through like a social experiment, you know, not at the beginning, but now recently. I will say maybe for the last year or so, I've been when I go to the VA, I go to the VA with intention to talk to others and to approach other people. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter if they're selling something or if they're providing services or a nurse or another patient. I always go with the intention to talk to other people. Okay, and then I wanted to be there so I can listen to them because the best thing that we can give, some of those guys at the VA, which some of those guys they do go, uh, you know, 2 3 times out of the week for different appointments. The best thing we can show them, in addition to a little bit of respect and camaraderie, is if we can give them a little bit of our time because they do appreciate that. So as I go to the VA, if you take a look at everybody going there, everybody goes so focused into
Right.
going into the labs, and then once they go to the labs, they get into their phone, and then you just see the young soldiers, old soldiers, airmen, marines, all the service members like in their zone, like so block into what they're doing. And And some of the things that I taken the initiative to do is talk to them. When I go there, I got my phone in my pocket, and then sit down. If I go to the labs or whatever, I try to sit down nearby someone, male or female, and then, hey, how you doing? How's your day so far? What's going on? What are you here for? Hey, my name is Rick. Hey, I'm getting my I don't know, my cholesterol checked today. What
Right.
the doctor said to you? And then you have no idea the how, because we all do the same. We all go there, we got the phone, still on the phone and out. But uh, as I started doing this, and then I know I do every time I go to the VA. You have no idea. Well, I'm gonna tell you now, but the amount of people that open up to me just to talk and tell me about their life, about their victories and struggles, and their problems and their issues and their families, and I give them the time, listen to them, make them feel a little bit better, during those couple of minutes that I'm there. Then I get called to get my blood, and then when on my way out, instead of just going my way out, I come back to them like, hey, I heard you, I see you, stay strong, see you around. You see me around, Ricky, call me, what's going on. And then it's very, very good, man. I
Right.
feel I get a lot of pride on this that I'm kind of doing at the VA, because those guys. I mean, not everybody has the same luck that was given that we had, man. Not
Right.
everybody.
Right.
And yeah, we're very fortunate. So when I go to the VA, I try
Right.
to do my best to reach out to those guys
Yeah.
that might need that 1 or 2 minutes of someone listening to them.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. And when I go, I mean, it's just those guys have a lot of knowledge about the VA system. And I had a guy help me out. One time, you know, I had a brace on, and he was like, "Hey man, are you getting a clothing allowance?" I was like, "Huh?" He said, "Look, man, that's free money every year, right?" You know, I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" He said, "Yeah, well, you have a brace or some type of a prosthetic through the VA." He said, "You're entitled to that." Had no clue what that was, and those guys, also there to help you. And if you communicate with them, and they have a lot of resources, through trial and error. And, if you just go there and, with the intent of like what Rick said, just speaking to them, you can get a lot of additional information on doctors, on processes, what to do, how to do it, and yeah, so that's important going to the VA. So a lot of guys don't go, they go outside the VA, which is good too, but you have to have your foot in there for something, just to be in the system. Um, I went in there one time. I had a doctor tell me, "Hey, look, man, I need you to be quiet, right?" And I said, "Hey, man, I'm the patient, and a lot of people don't know it. Also, in the VA, if you have a doctor that's not responding to your needs, you can switch. They have a whole patient advocate where they will come in and help you uh, get the service that you need. Um, and they represent you, and they have to respond to you. So, you can go as a walk in. A lot of people don't know that. They think you need an appointment. You could just go in there, and they have an overflow doctor that will, treat you. Um, on the e benefits site, you can contact your doctor. So they have to respond to you basically within that day or 24 hours. So, I mean, they've gotten better in some instances and worse in others, right? But it's a system, and everything's not going to work in the system as needed, but use it. It's there for us as a veteran, and I talk to people, and oh, I don't want to go to the VA. I don't have nothing wrong with me, you know. And then you sitting around here suffering, can't stand up, bend over, you know, can't hear nothing, and so if people could remove that fear and frustration, and just get in there, I think they'll be happy with the service that they'll get once they get into the VA. And then that's another thing. I mean, the medical care that they give you is some of the best. And I had a female friend. She had
You
she had
going
got
back to recruiting? You going back to recruiting?
oh no, she
Come on.
she had an operation outside of the VA. So the, somehow her organs got turned, twisted, right? So she went here at local Memorial Hospital, and for that operation, they charged her $90,000 for that operation, and the VA paid it. And then they missed something. She went back. They charged her another 20, and the VA paid. Just as a veteran, she went into the emergency room. Come on, we got to operate right now. And
No, not just that, Louis.
Yeah.
The your dependents. My
Yeah.
wife who uses this medication. It's an injection for osteoarthritis, I think it's called.
right,
And at some point, we moved from Arizona to Texas, and somehow we went from region to region, and the insurance dropped. And when I went to, I was like, "Baby, don't worry, just buy it. You go to CVS, get yourself, a couple of
Right.
shots." And they saved to me $4,500.
Lord have
I was
mercy.
like, yeah, for a month for 4 injections.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh my God, this I wasn't thinking about this. So time's up. If I pay for it, will the VA reimburse me? And she was telling, well, they can reimburse you total the 100%, or maybe they can reimburse you what it will cost them, which is a lot cheaper. And I was like, no, 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 no,
yeah,
no, no, no. So we managed to get the
right,
injections, but yeah,
yeah,
the service that we
yeah,
receive
yeah. I mean,
ourselves
that's
and our
yeah,
dependencies.
yeah. That's good. So, all right, so let's move on to this last topic, and our final topic. How have you managed the fear? So we were talking about in your job, in your relationship, um, and we're going to do the relationship. How have you managed the fear in your relationships? Whether you're single, married, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Uh,
So oh, do you want? We got Frankie here. So do you want to get Frankie to start?
yeah,
I can do it. Well, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. I know
yeah,
Frankie's busy about that with the
right,
family. So
right,
so three fears when it comes to relationship. Okay. Uh, I'm looking at the notes that you have here that we
right,
sent earlier.
right,
So yes, I think I got it. So there's a couple of fears that I
right,
encounter in a relationship. The first one is fear to be misunderstood and it could be by a partner, it could be by a loved one, it could be by I don't know, it could be any type of
right,
relationship. The relationship that you have with the people that goes to your house to service your grass, or
right,
it's always a fear of being misunderstood. Okay.
right,
And I'm gonna focus on relationship in this one. So I'm gonna talk about the relationship with my wife. Sometimes, and then I mean, I'm not an expert when it comes to this relationship thing, but 9 out of 10, I don't understand what she means. She don't understand what I'm talking about. And we are in this loving, amazing relationship, that I mean, it's just beautiful. But 9 out of 10, we don't know. I don't know where she's going. She don't know where I'm going
right,
to, where I'm coming from. So it's we always thinking that we know what they're thinking, but in reality, we don't because we are not in the other person's brain. So,
Right.
and a good example for that is like sometimes, she's, let's say she's preparing dinner, yeah, or something. And then, and she tells me, or ask her, hey, hey, babe, what's for dinner today? I know she's preparing something, and she say leftovers. So I'm like, okay, that didn't answer my question, okay, but then I ask her, can you explain to me what do you mean by leftovers? Are we having the same thing we have yesterday, or are you adding something else? Do we need to go out and buy something else? Do you want to go out? What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
And then no, and then she says to me, and this happens, a couple of weeks ago. She said to me, no, I mean leftovers. So I explained to her, I would love for you to like tell me exactly what we're eating, just instead of just saying leftover. And then she said to me, well, I thought that based on the fact that I say to you leftovers, and you eat dinner with me yesterday, the day prior, that you knew exactly what's for
Right.
dinner.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't even remember what I have for lunch today.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
so so is there's always a fear of being in my case misunderstood, and that can roll, that can play into so many scenarios. The other type of fear that I would like to talk is the fear of in a relationship of being vulnerable. Okay. uh, you know, you see, we got four healthy, strong men in this podcast. You be like, man, these guys, military, X, Y, and Z, defense, whatever the case might be, and you will say, oh, dude, those guys are, rock, solid as rock, strong individuals, you know, no issues. So, from the main father, head of the household, sometimes I feel that being vulnerable is not allowed. It's not. I cannot be vulnerable with my kids, or with my grandkids, or with my wife, or with my mom, or with my family, because they have this perception of me being like, oh, Rick, it's like,
Strong, huh?
dad,
Yeah.
like, yeah, but we have to take into accountability that we are humans, and before I was this individual. I was a newly brand new husband. Before that, I was a teenager, and before that, I was a baby on my
Right.
mom's hands, and we forget that, a lot. And I know that many men out there, they are not connected to their whole to their life. They're connected to who they are right now, but they're not connected to who they really are from the beginning. From I won't say, from the moment that you were born. So yeah, that's one of the fears that I have. Fear of being misunderstood, and fear of sometimes being vulnerable.
Okay.
So hopefully I explained it good on this.
Yeah.
Your podcast is doing good, by the way. We're
Right. Right.
sounding we're sounding pretty good in that
Yeah.
podcast. I'm listening to.
Okay. Um, Frankie, you want to chime in, and you have a young relationship, uh, young family, y'all just getting started. Uh, do you have experienced any fears uh, that may, you may want to talk about?
Hey, yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you, bro.
So, oh, perfect. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, just now taking on this new journey of being a dad alone has been a fear, man. I think from the beginning, when my wife let me know that we're pregnant and that we got something on the way. I think it was one of those things where you kind of just you're like, okay, this is what happens, but it doesn't start to hit you till it's go time. You know what I mean? You're
Right,
getting closer. The days are getting shorter, and you start going to these doctor visits, and you're thinking, dang, okay, well, this thing, my life's about to change. I don't know how it's gonna look, what it's gonna be like. Am I the right? Is it the right time? Am I gonna be the right person? It brings in a whole bunch of thoughts into your head, which could cause that fear. But just speaking overall about fear, I feel like I've always been the type to just attack the thing, problem, thing, whatever it is. I feel like for most of my life, I'm sure most of you guys can relate. We've been inside some type of survival mode, right? Where we're always just ready for the expected and just ready to tackle it. Um, yeah, just that alone has been scary, but at the end of the day, there's no real perfect way unless you just got to face it. I'm a dad now. Things change. I'm starting to have do these things now. These are new responsibilities. I might have never wanted to go to the doctor, but now I have to go to the doctor, right, to go get myself, because now you start thinking about long term, and I want to make sure I'm healthy for my baby, and things like that. But yeah, that's just kind of my thing
Okay.
on fear. Just hearing you guys out.
Okay. All right, Terry. Hey, I know this your subject here, right?
RT came in, so I had to step away and let RT in.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, man, being through talk about relationships and fear of relationships. Been through two marriages. One was 2 weeks, and the other one was was 5 years. And so for me, it's a fear of commitment, right? And just dating women and multiple women and just being disappointed, right? Giving your all and putting everything into the relationship, and then they end up cheating on you or lying to you or doing something. And so those are the fear that I have when it comes to relationships is commitment and just kind of going all in, finding one woman and then being all about that one woman because I'm thinking this one woman is going to do me dirty, so I'm going to have other women on the side. So just kind of locking in, and what helps me get through that is surrounding myself with people who have been in relationships and kind of asking them questions. Hey, how are you getting through this? How are you? What happens when this happens? How did you actually handle that situation? Right. And these are people that have been in marriages for years, and so I feel like I can take that and kind of learn from that. And what I've learned is, sometimes you spoke on it, Rick. You got to be vulnerable, and then kind of put yourself out there because if you don't put yourself out there, you'll never know. And you can go the rest of your life just being single, and I'm okay with that. But at some point, you're going to want somebody to share that time with and share experiences with and be with for a lifetime. So the commitment one for me is a tough one.
Okay.
Let me ask something. This is something that we talk in our last podcast. You remember, Louis? And then what we talk, something that I say on the last podcast was, I gave unintentionally, I gave props to my wife. Okay, I didn't mean it to do that, but unintentionally I did. And then I think the comment that I made was in the woods of that you gotta find yourself. We were talking about relationship, and I make a comment about finding the right one and how difficult and easy it is. How difficult and easy it is to find the right woman that will be there for you uh, in the good times and in the bad times. Okay, and let me tell you, in my own experience, from the moment that I met my wife, I knew that she was the one. I knew that this woman was going to be with me until the day I die, or vice versa. I'm going to be with her until the day she dies. And the reason why I realized that is because from the moment that I started with her, there were no secrets. There were no secrets both ways. I have no secret with her. She got no secrets with me. uh, we have one seat because she was married before and she had a kid before we started our relationship. So my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, everybody was telling me, but Ricky, but actually it was Richie. But Richie,
Right.
what you doing? Why? But why? And then I was, pretty handsome boy back then, going to school, getting my degree. Why are you following this woman? She had beautiful red hair, and a beautiful face. That's the one that got me. But it was about having that connection, and by not having secrets with her, you know. Um, Before that relationship, and I'm talking about I was a teenager. Before that relationship, every single relationship that I had, there were some secrets always. There always some type of secrecy involved, some type of situationships, and then as I grew up, I started learning about these things because the 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 wisdom that I have right now, it wasn't provided to me by my father or an uncle. It was learned on the trail, and there's nothing worse than having to learn these things as you go, And let me tell you something. I seen so many individuals in the military. I mean, I spent 20 years of my life doing that thing, just going, just hitting themselves over and over against the wall. And we know can let's not say cancel. We talk to these yahoos. We tell them, man, come on, like, do you really want to get involved with such and such? He's like, yeah, I'm so in love. I'm like, do you really?
Yeah.
And then it's one of those things that as they open up, the individuals tell you, yeah, we have some issues. We went to this party, and then I didn't saw her for like 2 days, or we met now, now in my situation. Now I got guys who are, most of the guys that I work for are six-figure earners, and then these are the people that I have to teach, coach, and mentor. And then these guys, they have a little bit of money in their pockets, so they go to these other countries, the passport bros, and then they go to these other countries, they bring some, and then I'm looking at them like, let me put a Joe, let's call it Joe. Joe, do you think that woman really is falling for you? You're serious? Yeah, but she told me that she got 2 kids, and I'm like, no, no, no. Are you serious? And it's very difficult for me to get with these individuals and telling them, like, it's not going to work. It's they're using you. I mean, we can continue on that topic, Louis, but
Right.
like Terry's saying, man, I mean, I have so much respect for you, my man, right there. Because you are. I mean, are you already find you already on in a relationship, stable relationship? Oh, good, man. Oh, you good, man. Good. Because that's one of the scariest times of a man's life, is being with a woman, or being without being in a time of your life without a deserving woman. That's the worst. I mean, you can be single, yeah, whatever. You can be single. Before we become husbands, we are sons. You know, and then that's your backbone, rather. But once you stop being a son, you need a deserving woman by your side. And then the guys who have those experiences where they encounter a deserving woman for a moment, and then she stop being deserving, and then you find another one who's trying to be deserving, but she's not. It's very hard, man. Congrats to you, Terry. For real, man, that you find you better have, because I mean, on the market out there, the pool of women out there, god damn it, I'm telling you, they're crazy. They're crazy. They call you, they stalk you, they know where you were, they know the name of your wife. I've been in situations, and I'm not saying that I'm going crazy. I've been in situations when I'm in places, and they're like, oh yeah, Jasmine. I'm like, who the wait a second. How do you know her name? I'm just thinking, like, yeah, she is, and women know, because they know they can involve you. They can give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and before you know it, That's why if you are done, if you know, for the other ones out there who still messing around, make sure that you paint the picture clear. Hey, this is temporary, not permanent. If
Yeah.
you're doing something else on the side, make sure they understand, because I'm telling you, the last thing that you want to do is having a deserving woman and losing that deserving woman for some man. I am telling you, man. I am telling you.
Side chick.
Okay. So I wanna talk about the fear of the man being the man in the relationship, right? So when you
Hey,
first
Louis,
meet a woman, yeah,
before you go
okay,
there, like, can I say
all right,
something?
yeah, go ahead.
This is turning into a very conservative podcast, man. What's going
Well,
on?
no,
You know?
no, no. We gonna
Yeah,
hey,
man.
the first one, you got to make sure you get the technicals right and this
Okay.
and that. So yeah, it's going to be more to come. I mean, I got a plethora of ideals for podcasting. I mean, and this is something that comes to me easy. So I'm gonna just have to go down the road with that. Um, but getting back to the man being the man in a relationship. So a lot of men put above them something that's beneath them, right? For it could be looks, it could be opportunity, it could be all these things. So when you I guess meet a woman, you really don't know her, right? And like you said, Rick, it takes a lifetime to know the woman, right? And if it starts out with hey, the bad attitude, right? So the temperament has to match the attitude. So if if she has an attitude but her temperament doesn't allow her to clean the house, to cook the food, and you have to weigh that, you know so then as a man we create a defense mechanism, because we have to be the man, and so you don't want to succumb to that type of lifestyle, right? To come home, so you go to work, you provide, you do all these things, and then you come home and the house is dirty. The there's there's a lot of things not going on. So now, do you get violent? Do hey, listen, why isn't this done? Or she might have spent too much money on something that you deem frivolous, right? So, as men, we start, you know, falling back, falling back, falling back until until you, degrade the relationship to the point where every day you're arguing. And now you can't be the man that you want to be because you got all these other distractions, and then the fear of her taking half, or doing something, or something crazy. So a lot of men, out of fear, you know get violent, right? It could be physical, it can be verbal, and instead of just going to get help, right? So a lot of men internalize some of these things. So you may need to talk to another man, to hear the truth, about that experience, right? You may need to go get therapy. I mean, something to try to save the man. So you have to try and save the relationship if you can. But a lot of men, you know, we can't be the man in a relationship. My dad told me, he said, "Look, son," he said, "You want this marriage to work?" At that point in time, he said, "Listen, I want you to get two TVs, right?" I said, "Huh?" He said, "Listen, it's going to be something she's watching you have no interest in, right? And so you need your own space. You need your man cave, right? You need to go somewhere, you know, to get away from that moment, right?" And then the other advice, he said, "Listen," he said, "if you get in a relationship, give her her way one time so you can get yours the next three, right? you know, and and I held on to that, right? And it works because women will only let you know that they have a problem through, let's say, an argument or through, something that's important to the woman. And then you could sit there, nonchalant, you don't hear them, don't respond, and then that causes an argument. So there's a lot of paths to the man not being a man, and you have to know and learn the female that you're with. Um, if you're adamant about something, stand on that. If you're in the wrong, admit to that. You know, but just keep your household in order, and you'll last a long time in a relationship and cut down on those fears because it is a lot of fears that you can't support your family, that you may lose your family to something else, to a girlfriend that has a greater influence than you, so there's a lot of things that can come into the situation and stop you from being a man. So you know you have to teach her, right? You have to teach her how to like you, love you, and care for you, and do the things you want. um, if you like chicken and she come in with steak, and you say, hey, look, uh, I'm not going to eat the chicken. I'm not going to eat the steak. I'm going to eat the chicken. And you're adamant about that. So sometimes you may take a position that you don't know how to come back from, being the man. And you have to understand a disagreement isn't necessarily an argument, right? It's just a disagreement. And you have to learn to move on from that. But a lot of men get violent. Some men, even take the life of their spouse out of fear. You're not going to be with another man. You're not going to do this. And, so they bypass being a man and put something that's, beneath them, above them. And that's an inherent fear of all men, to see another man with your girl, with your wife, and you wondering what is he doing that you didn't do. And so some men want to fight the man. So they want to fight the woman. I mean, so, but if you always have an intent on being a man, you'll remove any fear in a relationship. Um, you know, that's all I have. Does anybody have any go backs or any last uh, points they want to make on
Yeah,
yeah.
get yourself a woman who likes to watch these mystery solved cases.
yeah.
Those are the good ones. I'm telling
Right.
you.
Right. Yeah.
A woman that
yeah.
knows how to kill you,
Yeah. Yeah.
bury
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
destroy
Yeah.
your life.
Right. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm serious.
Or a
It,
sports lady. You get you a
yeah,
sports lady. Right.
if your woman is too involved on watching what was the life of Atlanta, oh, you're in for some serious trouble. If your
Right.
wife looking the what's the other one, what's the psychic girl from New Jersey.
Oh
There's a,
yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
know the
that's the
blonde.
one that
Yeah.
talks to dead people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell
Right.
we don't watch that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good,
Yeah. That's
good. Yeah,
forbidden.
you're
Yeah.
good. You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, get yourself a geek.
Right.
Somebody that watches Star Wars and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interested on the
right.
military and that
Yeah.
watches the
Right.
mystery solved. Those
Right.
24 hours.
Right.
Have you seen those shows?
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
I
Yeah.
haven't. That's why
Yeah.
we had two TVs, like you
Right.
say.
Right.
We got two TVs.
right. 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 And
Yeah.
and okay, guys. Frankie, are you okay over there? Terry,
Yeah,
Rick.
good. You cutting into my drinking time.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. I apologize for that. you know, okay, guys. I think this podcast was very successful. We got started a little late, but better late than never. Um, you know, we, there are going to be more. I would like to invite, all male and females into the podcast. If there's ever a subject that you feel compassionate about and you want me to talk about, I can put together something, that fits that narrative. And I just look forward to going on with the podcast. So thank you for joining Evolve Podcast Studio with Lewis Johnson. And with that, I will say goodbye and good night.
Hey, you guys. Thank you.
Good night, brother.
All right. Hold on. Let me get my mouse here. All right, where's my mouse at? Oh. Hey Rick. Yeah, so
OBS, stop streaming.
yeah. Is it yeah, my mouse won't. How do you release the mouse out of the square? Oh, okay. Hold on, I got